the Satsang House. Wishing you all a happy new year, and to you too, Binduji. And the ongoing sessions that Binduji is offering is on Bhagavad Gita, where he uses all the different structures of interpreting not just Advaita, but Advaita becoming the core of it. So we are on the 10th class. All the other 9 classes are available on the YouTube channel, Advaita Retold. I pasted on the chat. You can also catch them as replays in the clubhouse. And this format that we're following is every day of the week we'll have this 8:30 p.m. IST session for an hour, after which we'll have a half an hour discussion with Binduji. The change happens starting from next week, where Fridays we will have an open Bhagavad Gita discussion, and Sunday we'll have an open discussion. So that is the format change. And as usual, I will close the hand raising in the chat during the class, after which I'll open for discussion. Over to you, Binduji. Thank you.
Thank you, Prakash. Happy New Year to you, and Happy New Year to everyone here. Those who are going to come also, and those who are going to listen the replay. To all of you. Today being the first day of this year for our Gita class, is where Bhagavan is also going to, Lord Krishna is also addressing us with his first advice to Arjuna. So we are commencing it at the right time. And there are 700 verses totally, out of which we have covered 1 chapter and 10 verses. But the balance are very pregnant. We need to dive deep into them very carefully and see it applicable to our day-to-day life. So with that, let me do my invocation. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrabhyo Vamshirishibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashikritau Vande Bhagavandau Punah Punah Ishvaro Guru Ratmeti Murti Veda Vibhakine Vyomavat Pyaptadehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Dhyana Shlokam. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvandi Divyai Stavai Vedai Sangha Padakramo Varishadai Gayandiyam Samaga Dhyanavastita Tadgadena Manasa Pashyandiyam Yogino Yasyandam Navidussura Suragana Devaya Tasmai Namaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha. So we saw that the predicament under which Arjuna is now standing to kill his relatives or to lose the war. So he asked Krishna for his guidance. You tell me which is good for me. Shishyasteham shadimam tavam prapanna. I am becoming your disciple. I do not know what is right, what is wrong, what is to be done, what is not to be done. So normally, when we ask somebody, when we say that I do not know this how to be done, either they will tell us how it is to be done, Or if we are asking what is to be done, they will say what is the options out of which one is to be done. Now here, on the contrary, Arjuna's predicament is not a typical predicament which we are able to look at in that way. It is not that Arjuna doesn't know how to fight a war. He has even fought wars against the Devas, the divine people in the area, and he has won them. And he has even fought a war with Lord Shiva himself. So it is not that he doesn't know how to fight a war, nor that he has never had a tussle with his cousins while growing up and later, including when they were in incognito living in the forest. Also, there was a case where he had become the what you call charioteer for Virat Raja. Arjuna was the charioteer, and the one who is driving the chariot, and Virat Raja's son was the person who was sitting inside for fighting the war. But during the fighting, what happened? When the Virat Raja's son found that he is not able to take on to the war, Arjuna had to take his bow and arrow and win the war for and that exposes the doubt in the Duryodhana others. If the war has been won, it has to be not definitely the Virat Raja's son. It has to be by Pandavas only. So let us go and find out. But that is the time when Bhima also does the killing of a demon called Kichaka. So which again exposed the incognito nature of the Pandava kings. But by that time they had crossed the 14 years. So there was no more penalty for that. Otherwise they would have had to go for 14 years more. So Arjuna's predicament here is not that he doesn't know how to fight a war, nor that he has ever had rubbed, his cousins in the wrong side. Here he is now dharma sammuda cheta. That word has got a very important meaning. When you know what to do, you are not in a dharma sammuda cheta. When you know what you to do, you have no doubt about it. So Arjuna was not in a situation where he was not knowing what to do. So the word dharma sammuda cheta is to be understood very clearly by us that we know what to do in our situations in our life. We know what is right, what is wrong, what is beneficial, what is not beneficial, what is the consequences, the pros and cons, and everything is there. But still, something is lacking in us to take that challenge or to face the situation. That situation where we fail to recognize not our strength or weakness or anything like that, but some sort of what you call melancholy or despondency. The reason for the despondency we don't know. We know it is that melancholy or a despondency what is the gripping us. Some people have that they would have studied their exams very well. But the day when their exam paper is going to be given by the invigilator, they will start shivering in their hands, that they will not be able to hold the pen properly in the hand. It will be shivering. They may not be even able to write the first, portion of the answer of the first question which they want to answer. All these things are showing that there is some sort of ignorance which we are not aware. That ignorance, what we do not know, is the lack of knowledge of the dharma, what we should be known as Swadharma, our true nature, our Swabhava. When we do not know who we are, whatever may be the consequences of it, if we know who we are, for us the consequences can be taken from that standpoint of it. But when we are ignorant of that and we are assuming that we are, something else, now the student thinks that I am not prepared, even though he has prepared it completely. He knows that he has done, burning the midnight lamp and studied everything thoroughly. He was able to ask himself all the questions and answers of the previous papers, everything he knows that. But before the writing the exam, the pen starts shivering in his hand. Because in spite of the knowledge of the answers, he has something called the lack of courage about himself. He thinks he is not well prepared. Technically and practically, he has prepared himself very well. Here, Arjuna is also in a similar situation. He has the knowledge, he has the best of the ammunitions in his hand, he has the best of the charioteer who will take him wherever he wants at whatever time he wants, and he has got an array of army who is ready to support him with mighty Bhima and others along with him. Still, when he stood between the two armies, his knees start hitting each other. He started shivering. He started sweating. All these things are an exhibition of not knowing who Arjuna to himself. Krishna has been watching this all the while. He has heard what Arjuna's laments were. He didn't make any statement till then. And he asked only one statement in between. What is this sorrow gripping you, Arjuna? I didn't expect this from you. You are the mightiest of the warriors whom the world has seen. Still, what is this gripping you and you are not able to fight? For which Arjuna said that, Karpanya dosho apahatas svabhavaha. All those statements he makes that, Shishyasteham Shadiman. I do not know Krishna. I am becoming your disciple and falling at your feet. Please guide me as to what is right and what is wrong. Or no, he didn't ask that way. Please guide me, because he's not asking for what is right or what is wrong. If that had been the question, he would have asked Krishna, tell me. He comes to that question of what is right and what is wrong between pravritti and nivritti, or prayas and shreyas, in the 3rd chapter. But before that, in the beginning of the 2nd chapter, he didn't ask for any particular advice when he said, I am your disciple. Here, many commentators have taken different stands. What we have to understand is that irrespective of what have been the viewpoints by Shankaracharya to the current masters who have written commentary on that, there is one thing common, all of them accept it. Krishna advises Arjuna not as a charioteer or a friend or anybody whom we think. In fact, The commentators who made the statement earlier, there is one word, ha, Sanskrit letter ha, used by Vyasa. Prahasanniva, as if Krishna is laughing, ridiculing, or, a smile on the face of the Krishna. Now, not one commentator, whether it is Shankaracharya, Ramanuja, Madhva, Aurobindo, or anybody, Anubhava Gupta, or anybody for that matter, has not been able to give a proper definition for the word prahasanniva. Hasan, the word Hasan is smiling or laughing. But when Vyasa used the word pra before it, a suffix to the smiling before that, what type of smile did Vyasa intend to show Krishna is doing was not able to comment by Shankaracharya, Ramanuja, Madhva, or anybody for that matter. They all said that prahasan, that word, is what it is. We have to understand one thing. This face of Krishna, where he had a very subtle smile. It is not a ridiculing smile, nor a smile enjoying the event, nor it was showing some emotion on his face. He had this when he was born to Devaki in the jail. And even when the last moment, when he was hit by an arrow, before he ascends to his abode, that time also he was not crying. He was the same prahasan. Throughout Krishna exhibited it. So it is not an incidental or a situational face of Krishna. It is the nature in which he lived his life in the form of Krishna, who through and through knew who he was. From birth to abandoning his body, he knew who he was. So there is a state where he was, we cannot use the word smiling, because it will be, as if he was enjoying it. No. He was neither enjoying it, nor ridiculing it, nor crying it. Never ever in the entire life of Krishna he has cried. Except he had that, two occasions. One is when he showed a false cry to Yashoda, that when he was stealing the butter. The second time was to Kundi. These are the two occasions where he had shown as if he had sadness in him, but didn't really cry. But throughout the other way in his life, he has been maintaining a state where he showed that nothing is really happening. It is neither enjoyment nor sorrow, but he was enjoying himself in him, the happiness in him. That smile only Krishna had. Nobody else. In the entire avatars, nobody else had that smile. Whether it is Rama or previous avatars also. Here, because Krishna was in full control, not only about the role he is taken up for the purpose from birth to death, but never a moment he has forgotten who himself was. So, he starts advising or giving advice to Arjuna. The most important remedy for all the problems, the life, the way you have to see yourself, or you have not understood what life is, Arjuna. That is why all this melancholy and the despondency and drama you are doing. He didn't say that. But his advice in the second chapter itself tells tons and tons of books can be written on that. Very aptly, for very minimal words, he is picking Arjuna at the right time and giving the advices accordingly. So his first statement itself is that Ch02, the 11th verse. The word Ch02, he could have started with anything else. Now, the word Ch02 is meaning is the shosh is the root. To show means to grieve. So, Shocha means who should be grieved for. Ch02 means for those who should not be grieving for. It has got two meanings in it. One is to indicate those who will be dying in the war, whether it is Dhritarashtra, Drona, or the Kaurava army or anything. He is also telling to Arjuna himself, Arjuna, you are grieving for something which you should not be grieving for. If you think that you are a physical human body, you are crying for that. That is where he is negating that, Ch02, that word. So when we take the prose order, you are grieving for those whom you should not be grieving for. When that word is that, Ch02 tvam anvashesha. Anvashocha means you should not be grieving for anything. In the sense that on which thing or what thing are you grieving about now? Not only that, Prajnavadanscha bhashase. Bhashase means you are speaking, or you are giving an eloquent lecture till now. Like Prajnavadant. Prajnavadan is a learned person who knows everything. You showed your ignorance by all your statements and your grief and despondency. which itself is not making you any learned person. But the logic you are attaching to your words, there will be, Sankara, or the, mixing up of customs. There will be loss of tradition. There will be loss of men, because of which women will become, more, and they have to have multiple, one man will not hold multiple women, and then there will be mixing up, all sorts of explanation. And then you say, sorry, excuse me, you are not even desiring for the kingdom or the enjoyment, even Swarga, even if that is achieved by the war. All these statements are typically statements from a person who do not know the truth, or he is not a learned person. He will blabber these things. Therefore, tvam cha pratnyavan iva bhashase. As if you are a learned person, you are talking about it. Gata suna gatan susta. Gata soon, agata soon. These are the two words. Gata soon means those who are dead. Agata soon means those who are not dead, means those who are living. The word cha is to and, the word and there. So gadan soon, cha agadan soon. For the living and for the dead. Pantita na anushojanti. Pantita. If you were really learned, na anushojanti, you would not have had repentance or crying after for either of the cases, whether they are dead or alive, or anybody for that matter. Now the word anushocha is a very well-known word in India. It is to show what we call in the West as remembrance. We have a remembrance day for, those who have parted. And then what is that? It is a function to, talk very nice about a person who has departed, even though you have been fighting with him tooth and nail all through your life. But on that day, you have to talk nice about that person. This fallacy of doing something which you do not want to do, but for the sake of the society when you do it, that is what is called anishochana. Or there can be another meaning also. The milk is spoiled. By your crying over the spilt milk, it is not going to get back. Knowing very well that you can't get it back. Still, if you cry it, what you call it as? Foolhardiness. But we have functions all over the world to do this. When a thing is being wronged, we have to set right by apologizing or, telling that I forgive you. After having done what is to be done, then you forgive it. A statement of, repentance. And all this shows that you neither understood the reality, nor we are in a state where we know what we are doing. But if you are learned, or if you have been knowing the truth, you will never do these things. Because your approach will be the same approach what Krishna is going to teach Arjuna in the next verses. We also have in our life that we repent on many things. In spite of the fact that while doing, we didn't think about it, the action has already been done, and then we are now worried about the consequences. To reduce the enormity of the consequences or to avoid a confrontation, we do the repentance or apologizing to other person. To ourselves also, it is a self-pity which we do. This self-pity, we think that we will feel better. But in reality, the self-pity only increases our ego. So when Krishna says that Gadasu Pandita na Anusochanti, this is a very, very pregnant statement. Only if you know the truth, you will be neither worrying about the dead nor worrying about the living. We can never be totally worryless, because either we will be worrying about the living ones, that is the most of the time our worries on that. We do not worry about our departed ones except for few period of time. Over a period of time, it fades away. Still, memory will be there, and we may, have a feeling of sadness, sorrow, etc. Krishna is saying there is no need for it. If you have been really educated, if you have really known the truth, and you call it yourself a learned, because the way you spoke, you showed as if you know the truth and you were speaking. But which is that you pratnyavadam, as if you are learned, you were talking. But if you were really learned, you would not have been doing these talks. Now, when we look into the commentary by Shankaracharya, which I will be mostly referring to, wherever, unless I feel that, we need to refer the other one and tell that. He says that, Ashocyan ityadi. Starting from Ashocyan, I am going to write the commentary. Na shochya ashocya. One should not be, for whom you should not be crying. Such a person is called ashocya. Who are they? Bhishma Dronadeyaha. Because Sahritvatvad. Because even if you look upon them as jivas, they are good, of a good contact. Paramartha rupena cha nityatvad. Because if you look upon them and the ultimate truth of true in the form of absolute reality, they are timeless. Tan ashocyan anyoshochaha. Ashochita van asi. With regard to those who do not deserve to be grieved over, you have become sad. That means you are the one who grieving now for them. How? Here, it is the thought associated with the sorrow, because they are going to die because of me. Implies the sorrow associated with the feeling of guilt. Na mriyante man nimittam. Te mriyante man nimittam. They will die because of me. Haham tair vina bhuta. I am the cause for their death. Kim karishyami rajya sukhadhinaha iti. What will I benefit from that? Do the kingdom without them. Because he has mentioned in the first chapter 32 and 33 verse that, what will I do with the comforts and the kingdom if they are not there with me to enjoy and share it? In this manner is the reason why you are grieving for. Tvam prajnavadanscha prajnavatam buddhimatam vadanscha vachanani cha bhashase. And tadedat tan maudyam pandityam cha viruddham atmani darsayasyunmattaha iva ityabhiprayaha. And you speak of words of as if endowed with wisdom, like a wise man. You are exhibiting in yourself that foolishness and that scholarship which are contradictory like an insane person. Viruddhatmani. Maudyam pandityam cha viruddhamatmani. In the same person, both wisdom and foolishness. Because his words were apparently wise as per him, but it was exposing his foolishness. You should understand that. Krishna using very, that word, when he said that, Prajnavadanscha, that word, Shankaracharya is explaining that. Tadedat maudyam pandityam cha viruddham atmani darsayasyunmattaha iva ityabhiprayaha. That statements were apparently from the face value of it. Arjuna is telling the truth. What will he do when all his kith and kin are killed? How can he enjoy his kingdom and the wealth which he is getting after the war? It's a very wise statement, Arjuna. You are the greatest. That is the way in which people will think. But Krishna says, you are talking like a foolish person. Because he says, Yasmat, Gadasun Gadapranan Mritan Agadasun Agadapranan Jivataha Cha Anisochanti Pantita Atmatnya. Since wise people, here the wise people, Panditaha, means Panda Yasyasti. It is a wise people, means who have the knowledge. Knowers of self is the meaning which we have to take here. They do not grieve over those who has departed. That is, those who are dead and gone. Over those who have not gone, those who are, that is that Agatasu. Therefore, you are grieving and talking like a wise person, both simultaneously contradicting statements. Why is it contradictory? So he is explaining the word Panda, Pandita. Panda Atma Vishaya Buddhir Yesham Te Pandita. People who have knowledge regarding the self, they are called Panditas. Because of the Shruti sentence, what is that? Pandityam Nirvedyam. Brihadaranya Upanishad 3.5.1. Iti Shrutehe. So Brihadaranya Upanishad is the pramana or is the valid means of knowledge. Where says that the one with preliminary knowledge thoroughly attains knowledge of the self, born of Shravanam. Pandityam Nirvidya. That is the meaning of that Brihadaranya Upanishad statement. Paramarthastu Nitya Anasha Ashochan Anishochasyata Modo Asi Itya Aviprayaha. And in reality, Bhishma, etc. are eternal, Nityaha, and do not deserve to be grieved and you are grieving after them. Therefore, you are confused or deluded. Why? Bhishma is not the body. He will come to that when he comes to the Vasamsi Jirnani. We will know that verse where he changes. The body is like a worn out cloth which we change whenever we change from this thing. But before that, he had to teach Arjuna what is the nature of self. Because only a person who knows the real nature, that we, everyone, that Sarvatma Bhava in everyone, when it happens, he will be a person like Krishna, neither grieving nor enjoying on the birth or death of anything. Ajo Siddhya Shashwatoyam Puranaha Nahanyade Hanyamane Sharire. It will all come one after the other. Kuto Ashocyaha Yato Nityaha Katam. The question is being asked. How it is that Bhishma and others are not worthy of grief because they are eternal? How come? So he says that Natvevaham Dayatu Namsam Natvam Name Janadipa Nachaiva na Bhavishyamaha Sarve Vayamata Param. So, what is that? Aham. Jatu means, aham means I. Jatu means at any point of time. Na eva asam. Certainly, never I did not exist. Never did not exist means ever existed. It's a double negative. Na eva. So, natu tvam na asi. Nor were you also not there at any point of time. Not, again, double negative. That means you are also all the time present. So is these kings, ime janadipaha, these kings, na asan, not were, cha na ataparam, not hereafter. So even these kingsmen or that enemies whom you think you will be killed or you will get killed, neither they are never there, not never there before, and not never going to be there. That means they were there before, they will be there after. Vayam sarve na eva bhavishyamaha. We all never certainly shall cease to be. Na. Never certainly. cease to. Never cease means we are permanent. It is such a confusing verse because anybody reading that verse because of the double negatives will get confused. Because in Sanskrit, it appears very simple. But when we translate into English, we will get confused. So we need to depend upon the explanation, not for the words, but how Shankaracharya is going to unpack it for us. Natveti, he is explaining that verse, Nattu. Natveva jadu kadachit aham na asam kintva asam eva. Kintu asam eva. Natu eva jatu kadachit aham na asam kintu asam eva. What does it mean? If I have to bring an English translation, attend very carefully. At no time that I was not there is indeed not. This is a literal translation. So when I say I was not there is indeed not, I am refuting my statement that I was not there. That is what is indeed not. Because if I start explaining in Sanskrit, it will not be understood properly. So that's why I'm translated it in English and then giving the part of it. At no time, that shows is a common statement for both birth and death. I mean before and after. But he says that I was not there is indeed not. That means I was not there is indeed a wrong statement. That word not has to be made as a wrong statement. Aham na asam kintu asam eva. But I was definitely there in the past. So he is now refuting the possibility of his past availability by double negation, followed by a positive assertion saying, Kindu asam eva. But I was definitely there. That Kintu has got a definitive meaning there. In the past. Atiteshu dehotpatti vinasheshu gadadishu viyadiva nityaha eva aham asam ityabhiprayah. Atiteshu. Similarly to the space within the pots, that is Gadadishu Vyad Iva. Gadadishu Vyad. The space within the pot. Dehotpatti Vinasheshu. That is Dehotpatti means the birth. Vinasha is the destruction. Like the past birth and deaths of the body. Aham nitya eva asam iti avipraya. Being permanent, what I meant in the earlier statement that I was always definitely there, this is what is being conveyed. example he has given is Gadadishu Viyadiva. Like the space inside a pot. The space was there before the pot was born into shape. And even when the pot is destroyed, the space is not destroyed, it remains there itself. So what comes and goes is the pot, but not the space in which it is appearing and disappearing, including the space inside. Gadadishu means inside the pot. So, he is now proven that in the past I had taken many births. In all those births, I was changing my body like pots are coming and going in the space. Tata na tvam na asi kintu asireva. Tata na me janatipa na asan kintu asanneva. Tata na cha eva na bhishma bhavishyamaha kintu bhavishyama eva. Sarve vayam ataha asmad deha vinashat param uttarakale api. Let us break it up. Tata na tvam na asi kintu asi eva. Similarly, tata na tvam asi kintu asi eva. It is not all of us will not be there in the future, but definitely will be there in the future. Tata na ime janatipa na asan kintu asan eva. Even these kings who are fighting each other, they are also will be there in the future and will continue to be there in the future. That is, the destruction of the body, even though after destruction of this body, everyone will continue to be there at a later time also. Deha vinasat param uttarakale api bhavishyama eva. Who? All of us. So when Krishna is making a statement, he knew that Arjuna did not know this. Here is what we have to understand, that the mind of Arjuna was understood by Krishna to give the proper medication or remedy for it, with which his melancholy or despondency can be eradicated. So, in one statement he said that not in the past nor in the future will there be any destruction to any one of them. Neither me, nor you, nor these kings. Never we ceased to be in the past. Never will we cease to exist in the future. We are now, means when you are Adau Endau Yennasti Madhyevi Tattadaha. That was what we learned in the Mandukya Rupati. Here Krishna is telling about the self, so he is reversing the same thing again. What is there in the beginning and what is there which will remain in the past is what is there today also, not what you see as names and forms. The existence and awareness which is there as in the past and what will be there in the future is what is there even now. but you are using names and for transaction. The names forms are not permanent. They have been attributed. Adhyastha. Trishu api kaleshu nitya atma swarupena ityartaha. Deha vedanu-vritya bahuvachanam na atma veda abhiprayena. Trishu api kaleshu atma swarupena nitya means all of us are permanent in all the three times as self. It is not that there are multiple atmas, that he has not mentioned here. He has not touched down to that aspect. He will come to that when he comes to the 13th chapter. But here he is taking only about from the point of view that existence. The word he used is neither Atma nor, the name of the people. All he used the word is the past, present and future of existence. Asam, Asan, Bhavishyamaha, all those things are for existence. Was, is, will be. All these things are talking about existence, not what we see and transact. Tatra katham iva nitya atma iti drishtandam aha. That being so, because they are eternal, Bhishma and etc. do not deserve to be grieved over. Like how Atma, when this existency is there, Bhagavan gives an example. Now, this is a question which was asked by a opponent who was asking Shankaracharya about it. Katham iva nitya atma iti drishtandamaha. What is the abhipraya? This is explained in the 213, which we will do it on Monday. I'll stop it here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Thank you. Dhanyawad.
Thank you very much, Binduji. I've opened the hand raising in the chat. If you have any follow-up discussions, please come up or put your question in the chat.
We'll continue on Monday then.
Yes. So, but we are still meeting on Sunday, right, Binduji?
Yeah, Sunday open house is there.
Open up, sir.
But that is but not on Bhagavad Gita.
Okay. Thanks everyone for coming. And so Sunday we'll have the open discussion. Thank you very much, Binduji.
Thank you, Prakash. Thank you everyone for having been there. We'll continue the 13th verse onwards on Monday. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Namaste. Good night.